Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Comic Call. I'm your host, Dylan Lang. Today is the week of the comic over the week of June 20th, 2018. And for those who don't know, June 20th also happens to be my birthday. It's too high, that's too low, there we go. It's my birthday. So, it's been a while since my birthday fell on New Comic Book Day. Because of leap years, it skipped a few years back, so it's been a while. So it was good to finally have a free comic book, not free comic, new comic book day that falls on my birthday. Now I won't have another one for a while, but that's okay. So this is this week's comic call. As I continue to cull the herd, there were a bunch of books that came out this week that I really wanted to get, but in the end, I wasn't probably going to read them. So just held on to them for a while. So I decided I'm going to start cutting down because I need to start cutting down. But I still got a bunch of stuff here to look at and some interesting things coming up. So here we go. First up, we have Batman number 49. This is the issue right before the big 50th issue with the wedding of Batman and Catwoman. This is Catwoman and the Joker having a conversation. Basically, it's written by Tom King with art by Mikel Janin. The artwork is amazing. The story has been amazing so far, and it's fun to see these two together, having a real conversation and trying to figure stuff out. So pretty interesting. I can't wait to read it to see how it goes, and we'll see where it goes. So the wedding issue will actually be out in 2 weeks, so that means on July 4th. We should have an Independence Day haul as well. We'll have the wedding of the century for the most part because, spoiler alert, X-Men Blue or Gold or whatever, that X-Men book that came out this week that was supposed to be the marriage of Colossus and Kitty Pryde. Well, guess what? They didn't get married. Instead, Rogue and Gambit did. So I was going to buy that issue because I thought it'd be cool to see Kitty and Colossus get married. But then when they didn't, I was like, yeah, I don't need this, so I didn't get it. But here's more wedding stuff. Prelude to the Wedding, Red Hood versus Anarchy. Tim Seeley, I guess, is writing all these because he wrote this one. And it's drawn by Javier Fernandez. And Hugo Petros also has pencils in this as well. It seems to be a little bit out of order because the Joker finds out from the Riddler that Batman's getting married, and then the Riddler shows up and fights Batgirl. But then in this one, we have the Joker actually talking to Riddler, and cutting him up. So I don't know how that goes, but no, I haven't read the other new ones yet, but it's Prelude to the Wedding, so I'll catch up on those as well. And wonder if Seeley's doing some sort of weird time thing. Next up, we have Justice League number 2. Read the first one. It's actually fairly entertaining. We'll see if it continues. It's written by Scott Snyder with art by Jorge Jimenez. The artwork is really gorgeous, and Jim Chung did a good job on issue 1, but now we've got some Jorge Jimenez stuff, which is really nice looking. And we get a little bit more about what's going on, and we also get an introduction to a new member, a new Lantern Corps, the Ultraviolet Light, the Ultraviolet Corps. So it's another t-shirt I'm going to need to buy eventually if they should release one. So check that out, definitely. So Justice League has actually been pretty good so far, so we'll see what happens. Next up is Man of Steel number 4, continuing Brian Michael Bendis' deconstruction of Superman. I haven't read 2 or 3 yet because I'm just not liking what he's doing, and seeing where it's going, I'm not that big of a fan, so we'll see. But this one has nice artwork by Kevin Maguire, and Jason Fabuk has a 2-page art in it, but Kevin Maguire is the one who does the majority of the artwork. So it's good to see a Kevin Maguire art book, and get Bendis involved in this also. And the return of Jor-El again, cliche BS. I don't know what's going on, and I honestly really don't care because I'm just not that interested in it, but I'm going to keep getting it because the artwork looks nice, and I don't know, maybe Brian Michael Bendis was the wrong choice for DC or for Superman. maybe just I'm colored because I like Peter Tomasi's and Patrick Gleason's stories so much. We'll see. Scott Snyder is also, along with Aaron Gillespie, writing New Challengers, from also spinning out of Metal. This one's drawn by Andy Kubert. I think not Adam, right? Andy, I think, did the artwork. This looks more like Andy's artwork. He's at the end. Yeah. Andy Kubert with inks by Klaus Janson. So this was the book that Scott Snyder pitched when he first, I guess, came to DC. He wanted to do a Challenge of the Unknown story, and now he gets his wish. Next up, we have Green Lantern number 49. This also leads into a number 50, which I actually haven't heard a lot about, so who knows what's going to happen with that. That'll probably be out on July 4th also. It's written by Aaron Gillespie, the same one who co-wrote the New Challengers. I wonder if he's a new writer on it. With art by Roj Antonio. Or Raj, maybe it's Raj Antonio. So Green Lanterns has been pretty good, pretty decent. So next up we have Batwoman number 16. This book is going to be ending soon, I think, so I'm just going to keep getting it because I love Marguerite Bennett's writing style. And I also, the artwork by Fernando Blanco has been pretty good. But it's just Batwoman and Batman keep fighting each other and keep having issues, and I don't know. I kind of wish they would be, I mean, they're cousins for the most part, so it'd be kind of nice to let them be family and stuff like that, but you know what, that's just me. Speaking of Batman, The Brave and the Bold, number 5 of 6. That's why I bought it. I probably wouldn't have bought it because I'm trying to save money, but the artwork and story by Liam Sharp is still pretty good. It's a Lord of the Rings style story that involves Batman and Wonder Woman, so the artwork's really nice, and the story's probably really good. I only read the first issue. I haven't caught up on the other ones yet, but we'll take a look at it. But it's nice artwork, and it's a different take on Batman as well. That's it for DC. Marvel, I'm probably not going to keep getting this because, again, I got to cut down on my comics money, but I had to get it number 1. Iron Man number 1, Tony Stark Iron Man number 1. This is Dan Slott's first pre-Spider-Man book. The next one will be Fantastic Four. That comes out in July, I think. This one is drawn by Valerio Schiti. So for all you out there who want to get a fresh start for comics, and this is a good incentive for you to get to your comic book store, Tony Stark Iron Man number 1 is out this week. If you liked Iron Man from the movies, I was looking through this earlier. It looks a lot like it's going to be a similar Robert Downey Jr. type of look to him. Also, The Avengers has up to issue number 3 now. Issue number 3 came out this week, so you can probably find the first 2 in that as well. And there's been a Thor number 1 and Doctor Strange number 1, a whole bunch of number 1s again. Marvel, when they decided they were going to go back to do Legacy, they said, oh, we'll go back to original numberings, have decided, well, that's not going to last long because you'll find out in a second. But this is one of the variants. They did like 50 variants of Tony Stark Iron Man. There's the regular covers, and then there's a cover like this that has the current Iron Man armor in there, but the variants have every single one of his armors up here, so you can find which one you want if you want one of these. I've always had a soft spot for the Silver Centurion one. So this is Dan Slott's first Iron Man book. So again, you know, fresh start, new writer. Fin Fang Foom is in it. You get to see giant Iron Man robots. And some pretty nice, looks like some pretty nice artwork. And Jocasta looks like she's going to be playing a big role in the series. So definitely go for it. It is $4.99 though, but it is a number 1, and it's well worth the fact that if you want to go to a little comic book store and get started with comics, go ahead. This is where Marvel's failure comes with Legacy. They decided last year that they were going to do Legacy, where they were going to put their comics back to the original numbering. So you get into the 700s and 800s and stuff like that. Well, the reason why they mainly did that was because there were a number of big issues coming up, 50s, 100s, 300s, 500s, 350s, stuff like that. And one of them was Spider-Man 800. So they did Spider-Man 800, which I showed you a couple weeks ago. And Spider-Man 801 is the last Dan Slott issue of Spider-Man ever. This comes back and writes it again. I think it's art is by Marcus Martin. Yep. So it's a coda to his Spider-Man run of almost 10 years, I believe. But on July 11th, Spider-Man #1 is coming back out. Legacy really didn't last long now, did it? You'd think it'd be 802, but nope, it's a new #1 with a new creative team, so who knows. But yep, Marcus Martin and artwork, which is always good, and you get Dan Slott's last story of Spider-Man. This one looks like it's a standalone, so you don't need to have read, I guess, everything, though. You know, why pick this up as your first Spider-Man book when this is the last one for Dan Slott? Why not wait till, I guess, July 11th when #1 comes out? I just find it ridiculous that they're doing that so soon after changing the numbers back. But here's 801, Amazing Spider-Man 801. Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows #20. This is Jody Hauser's alternate reality Spider-Man book, which is good, where Spider-Man and Mary Jane stayed married and they had a daughter. It's art by Scott Koblish, and they all have powers. So it's a family that fights together, lives or loves together, fights together, whatever. And I just saw this too. This is going to be pretty good. The Life of Captain Marvel, which is like a year 1 look at Captain Marvel. So definitely worth the pickup. These series are pretty good. It's good, as I said, it's always good to see alternate reality stories. And particularly, I've always liked the Mary Jane Peter Parker marriage myself. That's just me personally. Also, this week is Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man Annual #1. Chip Zdarsky, Michael Allred, and we also have a backup Mike Drucker, Chris Bachalo story. So I guess that's that one. But yeah, Allred has a very distinct writing ability, and Zdarsky and Allred is actually like a brilliant idea to have them together, because it's never really been done before. So that's why I picked up. It's the annual #1, and that's that one. I guess this is the Chris Bachalo one, even though it doesn't quite look like Chris Bachalo, which is a little odd, but it looks a little bit like him here and there. But so you get 2 stories in here, and more Spider-Man. Doctor Strange #2. Again, Legacy, they restarted Doctor Strange again, and then they are redoing it again. I don't know. I think there's still another Doctor Strange out there anyway. This one has the status quo change. It's written by Mark Waid with art by Jesus Saez, where Doctor Strange is going to outer space to learn to be a magician. The artwork is gorgeous by Jesus Saez, but now he's learning how to do intergalactic magic, which is probably what I should have called this episode instead of Birthday Haul. But, you know, I might keep an eye on this because I love the artwork and I love the idea. And Doctor Strange has always been interesting. So that's it for Marvel. For Independence, we have Skyward #3, which has been a gorgeous looking book. It's written by Joe Henderson with art by Lee Garbett. I like the artwork, and it seems like it's an interesting storyline. Female heroine. Like that, so I'm getting that as well. Shadow Man #4. I always love Shadow Man, and I'm still going to be getting this for a while. It's written by Andy Diggle with art by Sean Martinborough and Steven Segovia. This is Martinborough. His artwork is very distinctive, and Segovia is probably a little later back here. But Shadow Man is always a fun book, and I like this cover, so some good interesting stuff on that. Moonshine #11, great story by Brian Azzarello and Edward Rizzo, combining 1920s gangsters and prohibition with werewolves. So you get a true crime, you get some horror aspect of it as well, and it's a very unique story idea. So I'll give Azzarello and Rizzo that, and the artwork is always wonderful. And gangsters and werewolves are awesome. So lots of violence and stuff like that. So okay, that looks weird. Well, I'm not even gonna look at that. So some weird stuff coming out of the image there. And finally, we have, again, I wasn't going to buy this one, but it was the last issue. I figured I may as well just keep up with it. BSG versus BSG, Battlestar Galactica versus Battlestar Galactica, which in general is a good premise. It's the original Battlestar Galactica taking on the new edition of it. It's written by Peter David with art by Edu Mena. And this wraps up their storyline, the crossover between the two. Again, as I said, good storyline. Interesting artwork. So I think that's it for this week's The Haul. And that's all I gotta say. So go out to your local comic book store. Enjoy. It's good. It's raining here on the East Coast, so it might be a good idea to go to your local comic book store, pick up some cool stuff. I just showed you a bunch of it, as I said. You get some #1s and some other stuff as well, and see what came out. Some trades, maybe special deals going on at your local stores. So definitely go to your local comic book store, pick up some stuff, and enjoy your comics for this week. And I will see you next week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.